Steve, what are the pros and cons of a multi-tenanted commercial property?
All right, so I love multi-tenanted stuff. Main pro of that is obviously mitigating risk of vacancy. So if you buy like a retail strip and it's got 10 different shops in it and they're fully tenanted, if you lose one or two tenants, you're still getting 8/10 of the rent. So you get 80% of the rent come through, which mitigates a lot of the risk. That's one of the main pros. The other one is typically if you're buying multi-tenanted is it's freestanding. You own the whole site. Like there's no real point of buying like just half of a shopping center because then it's body corporate. You don't get that kind of positive there. So you got the freestanding. So you've actually got huge value adds because you can renovate the property and make it look nicer and charge more rent. You can do better like online campaigns to get people to the center and things like that. You can even manage the tenants. So you can put different kind of types of tenants in that bring the foot traffic. So don't have 3 hairdressers in a row. Diversify. You have like the physio, you have the pharmacy, you have the medical, you have the bakery. Get it so as many people come to that center as you can. So that's there. Similarly applies to industrial, but less so with the types of tenants. That's not as important unless you've got a specialized kind of industrial complex. So what I mean by that is like, you'll see a lot of like automotive industrial complex where they have the panel beater, they have the auto electrician, they have the mechanic. That's because they can benefit from each other because they have the flow and effect from work. So the mechanic will send it to the spray painter and auto electrician, things like that. So you have that there. But the biggest one obviously is just having the diversification of tenant and rent so you don't lose it. The negatives is sort of what I said in that first question. You're not typically going to get a tenant on a really, really long lease unless you're buying a huge, obviously like a homewares kind of complex or something like that. So you're going to have shorter tenancies. Retail tenants, if you go down that route, is a little bit more volatile. Like you'll have the tenant for longer, but if they leave, the vacancy periods are longer. But yeah, multi-tenancy is a great option if you don't want. One of the negatives is obviously if you don't diversify. If you buy in that one complex and put all your eggs in that location and that location population dies or the foot traffic to that complex slows down, all your eggs are there. Whereas there's a good argument as opposed to buying 10 retails or industrial in the same location, separate them like in the first question.
Yeah, exactly. And Nick Ainton actually asked about self-storage as well. And this flows on from that particular question above, or the question we just answered, was the reason that I like self-storage is because it's multi-tenanted, because you have hundreds of tenants on site and you're not at any risk of having a single vacancy or a prolonged vacancy. And buying that type of unit or buying that type of property, all of the good parts of self-storage are gone. You know, the scale, being able to move the rents, being able to have some vacancy and really push the rents as high as you can. The multi-tenancy piece is a really, really important piece of self-storage and commercial property as well.
Yeah, if you buy a single one, Andrew, you're not going to get someone signing a 5-year lease and it's going to give you that stability as well. So you lose the whole benefit of buying. One point to note, so some industrial complexes will have, say, 1 or 2 of the warehouses dedicated to self-storage. So make sure you check your zonings. If you're buying on and something doesn't seem right and it seems cheap, check the permitted uses because sometimes they'll actually have it zoned as storage, which can basically inhibit your future tenants because you're not going to have the same pool as being able to do mechanics, wholesalers, fabricators, distributors, all that type of stuff. Buy in a different location, maybe a slightly more regional one where you do get that versatility.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this particular client was talking about, it was a business called Silo. It's in Wollongong and it's just all self-storage. And I said to him like exactly what I said before, but one of the disadvantages as well is that you're buying an extremely small, like little warehouse for someone potentially. So, you know, it might be 18 square meters or 24 square meters, or you could get something a little bit bigger. But what happens when there is a prolonged vacancy of a lot of the tenancies in there is everyone's going to undercut each other to try and get someone in. And you're playing like a race to the bottom of the market. And it's just everything about self-storage and multi-tenant commercial property goes out the window when you try buying something, because that kind of tenancy is going to turn over a lot more if it's a business in there, because it's just, they outgrow it so quickly. It's literally just a garage. So unless their whole business is storing some stuff they're selling on eBay for a hobby, you're really not going to have a tenant for very long. Barely even 12 months, I reckon.
Yeah, a lot of people fall into the trap of like the glossy magazine, buy off the plan from the selling agent. Oh, get this self-storage, it's 160,000, completes in 6 months, for instance. you'd be much better off just going to buy a 20-year-old warehouse at the same price in the similar location where you've got that versatility, that more floor space, more value add opportunities. So yeah, just be mindful of that, guys.